If you're trying to figure out how to get into remote sales in 2026, this is the video that you need to watch. I'm going to be walking you through step by step how remote closing actually is. I'm talking how to get started, what skills you're going to need, how to find good offers, how to get paid, and more importantly, how to land your first role in the space. So we're going to do it without having to spam a bunch of strangers or selling to your mates like it's a pyramid scheme. And before we get into that though, I want to take you back because I started this journey door to door. When I was grinding 10 to 12 hour days, I now run a multiple six-figure sales brand from my laptop remotely. And I did it learning this one skill. And today I'm going to be breaking it all down for you. So let's get into it. All right. First thing that we need to go through is what is high ticket closing? Or more importantly, what even is remote closing, right? And the simplest way to put it is remote closing in the high ticket space is done over Zoom, phone, or on the DMs. And you're not door knocking, you're not cold calling, you're not begging friends or family, and it's definitely not multi-level marketing, okay? You're closing leads that are already warm. They've already come through a funnel. They've watched some form of a video, just like you're watching right now, and they booked a call onto the calendar. Now, they're sitting across from you because they're ready to decide. They showed intention that they want to make a decision to buy whatever product or service that you have. The only job of yourself is you need to lead them through that final conversation to making the decision. And yes, the big names in the space are doing it. Everyone would have heard of Tony Robbins, Grant Cardone, Dean Graziosi, right? They all use the same funnel because what they do is, I'm sure you've seen this on your own feed, right? Is they pull up their phones and they have an ad running on their phone. We come across it and you click on it and it shows like a little application form. You fill out some information and then at the end it shows like book a call. So that's a sales call that's happening, right? And on that sales call, then the person buys. So the real opportunity though that comes from this is these brands, and there's hundreds of others, okay? They need people to close those calls because, well, I'll put it simply. Tony Robbins, if we look at him, right? One of the biggest names in the self-development space, he doesn't have enough time to close the deals himself. If he were to have to jump onto a call with every single person that wanted his program, he literally would be on the call 24/7 every single day and he would never get a moment's break. He doesn't want to do that, right? Which is why he hires people like myself, a remote closer, to come in and talk to the people that are already looking to make a change. People that are already showed intention and like, yeah, this is what I want to do, and help them, nudge them along the way so that way they can start to actually change their life. Now, that's part one. First, just what remote closing actually is. The second thing that we're going to cover is why this works in 2026 and why it's not going anywhere soon. So why is such a powerful opportunity right now? Let's break it down. More people than ever are buying premium online programs. We're talking fitness, we're talking learning how to trade, business coaching, any type of coaching, you name it, right? And these businesses, like I said before with Tony, they don't want to close these sales on their own, right? They want trained professionals who know how to talk, who know how to have conversations, handle the calls. And AI, if you're worried about that, it's not replacing human conversation anytime soon because closing, it isn't logical like AI. It's emotional. It's connection. It's leadership. And you don't need a product. You don't need a brand. You don't even need a big social media following. You just need one skill. And this one skill, guys, I can't even describe how much it changed my life, right? But it opens every single door. And sales is that skill. It leads to the money that you're wanting to make. It leads to the freedom, the location, the opportunities that you've been searching everywhere else for. Okay, and that happens in remote sales. Now, the third thing we're going to be going through is the skills you actually need to succeed. So let's talk about these skills, right? Because frankly, most people get this wrong, and this is why they never make the money they want to make. You don't need to be loud. You don't need to be slick, and you definitely don't need to be pushy. But what you do need to be is you need to have curiosity. One of the best things you can have in sales is being someone that's curious. Like, are you genuinely interested in the person in front of you? The second is you have to have a calm presence. Can you lower someone's guard when they're having a conversation with you? And last, but definitely not least, is can you follow a structure? You see, the conversations I have day in and day out, even though they're completely different people, they all follow a very similar structure. So my question for you is, can you lead someone through a real conversation where they feel safe about opening up, where they get clarity on their own plan and guide them to a solution that they've already been looking for? Because that's closing. Now, the real skill, it's not the Grant Cardone or the Jordan Belfort style of yelling and pushing and pushing. It's actually emotional leadership. It's not just pitching, okay? And really, honestly, you need to be coachable, because every top closer, they started with clunky calls, that awkward silences, but they took the feedback, they adjusted, they make the micro adjustments, and they got better. Now, inside of our program, we teach a method called clarity selling, where empathy, it meets structure, and that is what wins in 2026. Okay? Now, the fourth part that we're going to go over is how to land your first role. Because you guys are thinking, okay, Liam, yeah, this all sounds great, but how do I actually get a job? Right? How do I actually break into the space? I have all these skills, maybe you've sold on something else. You've been running around door to door. You've been selling on a car lot or whatever it is. Or maybe you're just someone that loves to have conversations, right? I talk to people for a living. You're thinking, how do I actually land my first role? So here's what I tell every new student. Start by avoiding the garbage. Don't chase some hyped up crypto band and brands where they're trying to get you into a telegram. Don't fall for gimmicky e-com side hustles, and don't apply for everything that says remote sales. Okay? I want you to start by looking for low competition, high quality offers, and thinking things like coaching, education, or services like marketing and lead generation, because they offer offers that solve real problems, right? Then I want you to do this. The first thing that we need to do is we need to get yourself certified. Not just some 2-hour YouTube binge, okay? I know the type. You've been consuming some of the content. You're like, I got this. It's not enough, okay? I'm sorry, pump the brakes. The second thing you need to do is you need to practice. Practice, practice, practice. So we do what we call a mock call, right? And a mock call is basically where you're having a conversation with someone and you're actually putting the skills of how do I convince this person? How do I take this person from where they're not quite sure if this is the right thing and actually get them to feel good and wanting to make that decision, okay? But when you do those, most reps don't get this next piece, which is ask for feedback. You need to have feedback, because if you don't get feedback, you can't make those micro progressions and you cannot get better. So those are the first two. The third one you need to do is you need to join a real community that helps you grow. Guys, they don't say you're the product of your 5 closest friends for no reason. They say it because every single time you surround yourself with new people that have achieved more, you naturally become more successful for no other reason than you have better people around you. So you need to have a community. Fourth thing, you need to build a simple track record. Even before you start with your first paid gig, okay? Even before they start paying you, you need to have a track record to say, hey, I show up, I do the things I say I'm gonna do, and more importantly, you can trust me with your leads. Because guys, leads aren't free. These businesses that we're working with, they're paying thousands of dollars sometimes for each individual person you talk to, which means if you're not prepared, that's just money going straight down the drain. We don't want to do that. Okay? So here's the best part. Because personally, after going through and working in the regular world, right, some 9-to-5s, one thing I hated was having a resume. I hated it. I felt like every time I updated, I was like, oh, this looks clunky. In high ticket sales, you very rarely need a resume. You just don't need it, right? One of my students, they landed a $6,000 a month entry-level role after working with me for 3 weeks, all by just showing up, doing mock calls, and improving fast. There was no job board. There was no degree. It was just a skill. Okay, and that could be you too. Now, if we look on how to get paid, because look, if you're on this video, it's probably because you want to make more money. You probably are sick and tired of trading your time for money. You know, you're sick and tired of going to work, clocking in and clocking out for a paycheck that feels like it never even lasts. So let's go over the income side, right? How do you actually get paid? What does the comp structure look like? So let's talk numbers. Remote closers are usually paid commission only, which just means that there's no ceiling, okay? But here's what that actually looks like. Let's say you're closing a $3,000 offer. You're going to earn anywhere from $300 to $600 in commissions every time someone buys it. Now you do that 10 times in a month, that's your $3,000 or $6,000. Top closers, they're doing 20 to 30 of those a month. Those are the guys earning $15,000 to $30,000 a month. And yes, I'm talking usually USD. So if you're in New Zealand, Australia, you can kind of double that because we get the conversion fun. But there's at no point are you just trading your time for money, right? It's not that binary trade. You get paid for the performance that you've actually been putting in. So think of it like this, a personal trainer, right? A personal trainer isn't paid hourly. They're paid for the transformation that create within this person. So when we get into sales, we need to think about it's a lot more than just, I'm on the call here, I'm going to get X dollar here. It's like, yes, if you break it down really simply, but we need to more think, how can I go out there? So instead of making $20 an hour, I can close in 30 minutes a $5,000 program and earn 10% commission and make $500 in an hour. Because guys, guess what? That's what I did just earlier today. It's not this wishy-washy thing. Commissions work very simply. You usually get paid 10% of everything that you close. I digress. The next thing that I want to go through is what to do to be able to start today, right? Because here's what you want to do right now. Not tomorrow, not next week. I want you to decide first and foremost, are you really in? Or are you just watching content again, right? The next thing I want you to do is get trained properly. Learn from real frameworks. The best thing that you can do is be working with a coach who can give you feedback. And then join a community. Start doing mock calls weekly. Land a practice role where you can put it into efforts. Don't worry about the first one being like, man, this isn't going to make me $20,000 a month. No, mate, it's not. Because you need to go and actually learn a skill set that'll pay you that first. And most importantly, above everything, you guys, is seek feedback. Like your life and your freedom actually depends on it, because it does. If you can, I'll tell you a story. One of my clients, he came to me, right? And he had a marketing agency. It wasn't doing very well. It was at the spot where he's probably making $2,000, $3,000 a month. But there was times where he was like having to dip into his credit card, and his credit cards were almost maxed out just because he wasn't earning enough money. And it's not because he wasn't working. Like, he was putting in 10, 12-hour days, right? But he didn't have the skill set in sales. So he couldn't sell his own service. So I said, look, mate, put that on pause. Come work with me and let's get you into remote sales so you can practice the skill set that you need to have in order to close more deals when you are running your own business. So he's like, all right, screw it. Let's do it. We jump on together. And I said, the quickest way for you to win is to have a quick feedback loop. And what I mean by a quick feedback loop is every time you do an action, how quickly can you get feedback so you can fix the mistakes, know what you did well, and you can repeat into the next time with those changes. And he was like, all right. I didn't know what I signed up for at that point. I was like, man, this can be nuts. This guy, I kid you not, he would message me probably 5, 10, 15 times a day with a small thing that he tweaked, whether it be a video, an audio recording, and he would ask for feedback right away. Now, because he did this, in his first 60 days, he got to the point where he was making $10,000 a month and was able to actually book a flight to Bali and head off to Bali, which is pretty awesome. If you guys haven't seen the video, go check out Devin. Awesome guy. You can hear all about his story. But my point comes, if you're the person where you want to get into the space and you want to do well, but you're only jumping on with a coach once a week, or gosh, you're not even jumping on with a coach, and that progress window, that feedback loop is really big, you're going to take 10, maybe 20 times as long as Devin did to get to the same results, just because you're not getting that feedback loop, meaning you're not learning what's working, what isn't, quicker. And that's the difference between people that come into the space and crush it from day one. Yeah, of course they did. Because the reason that some people come into the space and it looks like they flourish from the first second, right, and they're a quick success, isn't because they're a quick success. Okay, it's because they tend to do the feedback loop so many times where maybe they're getting 5, 10, 15 points of feedback in a single day, or you stack that over the course of a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, that first month. They've done more training in the first month than most people do in 12 months of getting into high ticket. And that's why they seem like a early success. So do it. It is the best hack you will ever do. Because the version of you that's making $10,000 a month, he doesn't just watch videos, he actually executes. Okay, so be that guy. All right, guys, if you're still watching this, I already know this one thing about you, and it's you're serious. You're not just curious, you're not just interested, you're ready to change something, and this is your shot. I cannot stress it enough. Because remote sales, it absolutely changed my life. Like genuinely, hands down. And I know it can change yours too if you actually follow through. So here's what I want you to do. It's very simple. I want you to send me a DM on Instagram with the word closer. And I'm going to send you a free guide that walks you through step by step the roadmap that I use to get into high ticket. And if you're ready right now and you don't want to go there, just click the link in the description, apply to join, and see if we can possibly work together. Because guys, don't let 2026 be another year of waiting, another year of scrolling on your phone, or of second guessing yourself. This is your moment. Take it.